Okay, so how to deliver strategy through projects with integrated governance. We have 10-15 minutes to describe this. We will provide an introduction. There's a follow-on session which will go into some more detail, but we hope this will give you a taster and inspire you to look into the big concepts a bit more. So we're going to start with some motherhood and apple pie statements. Clearly, if we have a clear strategy, we have to do things towards achieving that strategy. And doing things, we need to run the business, we need to change the business, we need to develop and create assets. We understand about execution leading to success. But unless we can keep those things in balance, unless we can reassess changes to our strategy drivers and then react to those things through effective governance, our outcome, our success rate, evidentially is less. So the first key concept to get over about big is that we need to make sure that we have a clear governance operation which holds governance of all these different streams together to translate us from strategy to success. So allow me please to offer you business integrated governance. Well, what is it? There are many ways I could describe it. I can describe it from various perspectives, but in a nutshell, business integrated governance is the integration of our purpose into a vision, to the strategy that achieves it, to the delivery that makes it happen. And that has to work through all levels of our organization across all parts of it, from strategic levels through to management and leadership levels, through all the teams, and we need to connect everything up so that we can make choices to coordinate and achieve what we want to achieve. To reiterate, it has to cover business as usual, valuation, and change. So in P3 space, we see strategy delivery as change, as strategy portfolio, strategy program. Well, we need to make sure we align performance of our business as usual, product development, as well as our change capabilities. The big body of knowledge, therefore, has a lot of theory and a lot of examples within it. It explains the key concepts that we need to engage organizations on this. It offers some principles that we can use to test where we are and what we need to make the capabilities that will allow us to run this. It will describe the components. It doesn't just describe theory, it suggests what the work breakdown structure might be, what the product breakdown structure might be for the capability that you need to operate business integrated governance. It offers a life cycle for how to get this on the exec agenda, to build a business case, to develop the enablers, and move on into waves of business change, which include the enablement of people, development of process, configuration of tools, etc., etc., etc. So what are these principles? There's a lot on screen there. Don't fret, I'm not going to read all of them. You can find these in the big body of knowledge, but a couple ones that we've highlighted there that we think are quite crucial. Strategy is necessary to achieve purpose. Blooming obvious, don't you think? Those accountable are empowered. What's the point of making people accountable for strategic objectives if they're not empowered? And data underpins information. We need to make decisions, so we need good information, and that needs to be backed up by reliable, understandable, traceable information sources. Just a few there to get you going. This is very closely related to something called ISO 37000. ISO 37000 is an ISO publication for the governance of organizations. It's published in September 21. It's a really professional, very well written document and includes lots of shoulds about what you should build, what you should have, what you should to do with governance of organizations. The big body of knowledge develops our own principles and a level of shoulds, but it responds to the shoulds provided in ISO 37000s, with more of the what's and the how's. So BIG is more of a practical guide. It has its own principles, but it's more of a practical guide as to what you need to make to operate it. There are several key concepts within BIG. The first one being that we have a strategic process. That strategic process enables the organisation to develop its purpose, to get to a vision that shows how that purpose will be realised, talks about mission and strategy and strategic plan that break that down into achievable steps that we may connect to operations plans, to business cases. So we need that that process to develop and maintain that material, to configuration manage it, to keep it all aligned. And there are two aspects to that. The first one being something we call a strategy information model, the hierarchy of objectives and sub-objectives which constitute the strategic intent to deliver against our purpose, and the strategy operating model to allow us to keep our strategy aligned, continually revised based on external drivers, performance and opportunities that arise. So we need the key concepts. Number one, strategic process with a strategy information model backbone through the organisation, and operating model for strategy that keeps it fresh and aligned. Once we have those two things running, we can then cascade our strategy through our organisation and keep it aligned through our integrated operating model, our BIG operating model, where we ensure that through integrated governance with support and assurance and effective information, that the activities we're carrying out within value creation, our business as usual operations and our change portfolio are all aiming towards the objectives we expect, that we're balancing priorities across them, and we're integrating effectively to make sure any dependencies or accountabilities are all working in step. So the previous slide gives you the theory, and I just must point out that in the BIG body of knowledge, we go into quite some detail as to how we describe a strategy information and operating model. But we also go into even more depth about what the components are that constitute our BIG operating model. These components are quite clear, they're quite easy to stipulate. We need a clear organisation structure where roles and responsibilities are understood, where the protocols and the policies for how we operate are quite clear, so clearly obvious that that's important. A governance framework, so that the mechanisms and operation of governance through the organisation are clear, integrated and supported. That, of course, to support the operation of effective governance and decision making, we need a clear information set to help us make decisions, and we need data to underpin that. So we've got components of information and data we need to build. But governance is nothing unless we're getting stuff done and holding people to account and enabling them to be accountable. So accountability and the management of accountability is a really big part of BIG, and there's lots of content which talk about accountability and how to set up these things called accountability nodes and manage them and support them with information and data. We're talking of support, and we need assistance to help us do the right things, but also do the right things the right way. So we're very clear on needing an effective assurance body to help us do the right things, and business support to help us operate the governance protocols and to hold people to account. Business support, you might read in the portfolio program and project space that's a PMO, but in the wider context, it's a PMO for the organisation, for all the portfolios, not just the change portfolio. And the last component is leadership. Clear sponsors, driven sponsors who want to make this work, who want to enable strategy delivery to be more effective, and are then willing to provide the funds to make the change and build up the operations so that this can be done effectively. And what are we talking about building all this stuff with? Existing tools and process, in most cases, just organised and orchestrated effectively. So there's nothing that you won't recognise in this list already. Clear process for benefits, change, performance, portfolio management, risk, all that kind of stuff. And some new tools you might not be familiar with in P3M space, objectives and key results and key performance solutions, data platforms, some enabling capability that the organisation probably has, but just needs to be purposed to supporting governance. So that is basically what we're looking to build. These are the building blocks for integrated governance. So, what to do with business integrated governance? What are you going to do with this stuff? Well, our viewpoint, our proposition to you is that if we can clarify our strategic process and how it works, we can bring simplicity to the connection of strategy to delivery through your organisation. And you can find out more about that on the big CIC website, and you'll be able to access the body of knowledge, become a member, and get to all the content that you want to get to. In addition to bringing simplicity, the converse to that is that we can help you manage complexity. So the idea is that if we can map out how you currently work and describe it simply, and help your organisation understand how it functions and where it's not conducive to managing strategy delivery effectively, we can help enlighten people as to what the opportunities are for improvement. And it's more than just highlighting the gaps. It's about engaging senior stakeholders on their pains and explaining and understanding what your interpretation of the pains of strategy delivery are. Do you have issues with strategy delivery that we can express and enumerate? So in the page here, we've got a clear strategic process. We've got a proposition that will help you manage complexity, and some answers to the key points that come up when senior leaders are struggling with strategy delivery. If you're inquisitive to find out more as to what this is all about, then you can join us for the deep dive, which Greg is going to introduce you to later.